Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So I just made the video a couple days ago talking about Michael Jackson's song Childhood. And in the video, Michael Jackson's wearing the shirt and it's all dirty, okay? So to me, it was invoking images of what's known as Depression era, which is they had the Roaring 20s. This is in America. They had the Roaring 20s, and from what I know is that the stock market was just like really pumping. That's what kind of fed into the Roaring 20s, why people were having a really good time in the Roaring 20s. And then what you had is in the stock market crashed in the late 20s, and it caused what's known in America as the Great Depression, okay? So then there's this beautiful imagery of like what you're seeing here, a picture like this is known as Depression era, and you'll see a lot of like dirty kids. You'll see like this kind of image and stuff, right? But it's sad, but it's really beautiful. It's got this weird. So I really like Depression era imagery. Okay, I think it's beautiful, and it's because it's sad, and it's America, and it's all this stuff too. But so also in the 30s though, you would have had a lot of like the speakeasy clubs, and so there's a lot of the club stuff that's going on too, but that's because they outlawed alcohol. I mean, what a time like in American history thing, you know. So they outlawed alcohol, so then they had these clubs called the speakeasy clubs. So there's like that kind of looks like the Roaring 20s a little bit style too, but it's more like gangster style, you know. That's like what you would see in the Smooth Criminal video and stuff, right? That club is the Club 30s, so it's like it's more like gangster style. And the reason it has that gangster style feel to it is because alcohol was illegal at that time and stuff, right? So you've got these clubs that are serving alcohol, you know. So that's like the understanding of what's taken place in that imagery, because imagery is really important to actually understand the history that is surrounding that imagery and stuff, right? So I had done the thing on Childhood, and I'd seen that Michael Jackson, the shirt that he wore in the video, it's really dirty. He looks like a Depression era kid. It's like the shirt's so dirty, it looks like Depression era, right? So I was going to go look for some pictures with Childhood, and then it linked me up to Charlie Chaplin and Smile. It was showing other stuff like that, and then I found something here and stuff, and so this became much more important. So I'm going to show you this, because anybody who's a Michael Jackson fan, you know that Michael Jackson, okay, the song Smile is written, it's just the music is written by Charlie Chaplin, because the lyrics are added later and stuff. He didn't actually write the lyrics to that song, he wrote the music, because Charlie Chaplin actually originates from the silent film era. He did do other movies and stuff, but he's most known for like this character, which I'm going to show you, is that this character actually has a name, okay? Because what I'm talking about is that Michael Jackson's an abandoned child, and because of that, it invokes all kinds of these feelings and these connections to this kind of stuff with Michael Jackson and stuff, right? So let me show you. This is Charlie Chaplin, and right here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on that. So that's Charlie Chaplin. Okay, see, that's the character. Now, Charlie Chaplin did make other movies where he wasn't always this character, but this is the main thing of what he did. But just giving you an idea of like, okay, like Sylvester Stallone is Rocky, okay, but he's done other movies. He's not always that character, but that's his main, like his big Rocky thing, right? So Charlie Chaplin's main character is this character, but the character has a name. Like there's like a Rocky, okay? This character's name is the Tramp. Okay, it's the Tramp, also known as the Little Tramp, but it's the Tramp. That's the name of this character, okay? This character that wears this clothing, he actually has a name. It's called the Tramp, okay? So when you look up Tramp, now look at this picture here. See this picture, see how it's the same. Now this I'm looking up like in Wikipedia with the Tramp and stuff, right? So this photograph, as you can see, it's the same. It looks like Charlie Chaplin, right? That's the Tramp. But this is in 1899. So that's before the Charlie Chaplin movies. The Charlie Chaplin silent film era is like in the 1950 to like 1930s, like around that era and stuff, right? In 1915 to 1930, I don't know if I said that right. But just to show you that this Tramp character is something that exists before Charlie Chaplin, okay? And so then what it says over here a tramp is a long-term homeless person who travels. Okay? The tramp is a long-term homeless person who travels. That's what the tramp actually is, okay? So we're seeing Michael Jackson invoking Charlie Chaplin's Tramp, okay? And it's a Depression era kid where you had a lot of orphan kids who were out there alone and they were trying to make it. There was a lot of weird stuff going on in Depression era. Okay, so this photograph is actually from a Charlie Chaplin movie. He's got this photo. Michael Jackson's recreating this exact photo is done by Charlie Chaplin. Okay, so it's one of those things too that I need to go back and actually, it's like I can find more information. If I actually look at the actual movie that this photograph actually originated from with the Charlie Chaplin, then I'll know the story of that kid, okay, which I don't have. I've seen some Charlie Chaplin movies, but even with seeing them, I wouldn't be able to tell you the information. Like, I don't know him that well and stuff, right? But there's got to be more to that story. Like, if Michael specifically chose this picture, most likely there's more information to be found if you watch the film and then you watch this photo in the film and then you know the background of the kid, you know his story. There's probably more information there, right? This is how, what I do is I do research. I'm actually doing an ongoing investigation. And now it's like I said, now I know that by seeing this, I know that this is a recreation of an actual photo that Charlie Chaplin actually did in one of his movies. So then my research would tell me, okay, well, you need to go watch that, find that part of the movie. You need to get the background story of this kid and find out where they're at this moment. And then there's probably some more information there, right? So that's how I do my investigation, but I can't do it all right now. It takes time to go watch those movies and then to find this part. And, then I got to make videos, like all this stuff. But what happens is I have that in my head now. It's like, okay, there's more information in the Charlie Chaplin films. I need to go find that exact part and stuff, right? But so I wanted to show you here. So now what I'm saying is that Michael Jackson's abandoned as a child. So then, and like when Diana Ross informs Michael that she's his real mother, and she says, I am the one, but the kid is not my son. So Diana Ross tells Michael Jackson in the song Billie Jean, when he's like 10 years old and living in her house, she tells him that she's his real mother. So now Michael Jackson, he doesn't have the connection to the Jackson family as being that he's part of their family. It's a different scenario of what he's taken place. And then you can see that Michael's so connected to this Tramp character as a long-term homeless person who travels. Now, isn't that the story that I'm saying? Doesn't that fit? That now Michael Jackson is feeling like he's like homeless. So all this time he's with the Jacksons. Diana Ross is around, but he's not really a Jackson. He's kind of homeless. He's without a family. He's got these people around and then now he knows who his real parents are, but he's living with this other family. That would give him the sensation of feeling like a homeless person, and he's traveling around. He's in a band and stuff. That's I don't know if infatuation is the right word, but the connection where Michael Jackson is feeling towards the Tramp, this character of the Tramp. You see the connection? But Michael Jackson can only have that connection if he's homeless. If there's got to be a reason, an explanation for why Michael Jackson is feeling the connection to the Tramp when Michael Jackson's part of the Jackson family. If Michael Jackson's part of the Jackson family, and they've had, even in Gary, and then they moved to the Havenhurst, they've got family homes and stuff, right? Michael Jackson should not have this connection. But for some reason, he's feeling this connection. What's the connection? That he doesn't have a real family. He feels homeless. He's out there traveling around doing this stuff. He feels the connection to the Tramp. As I keep showing you, is that when you go back and look at the stuff, it's constantly explained with the story of what I'm saying. When you look at the stuff of what Michael Jackson documented in his life and the things of what he did, you see how it's explained through my story. It gives a much better understanding and it clarifies what you're actually seeing here. It's like he doesn't have a home. That's why he's connected to the Tramp. And also the kids, I said, also the kids. It's not just him, it's also the imagery of the kids from that Depression era, because they're homeless kids too. A lot of them are orphans and stuff, right? And so I'm going to show you here, Michael put that image. This is Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. movie, okay? So those are the kids in the Moonwalker movie. See the way they look? They're Depression era kids. And look at them. They're out on the street. The one kid in the middle's got a backpack on, which is representing that he's got his possessions with him, that he doesn't have a home. The girl's holding her teddy bear. Okay, well, she's not in a bed. She's out on the street. What this is representing, and look at the image, the style of the way they're dressed, they look like Depression-era kids who are orphans, and because they're hanging out together. You got a black kid, and then the white kid and the blonde girl don't necessarily really look like brother and sister, and I don't think they portray themselves that way in the movie at all and stuff, right? So what this image invokes to me is Depression-era kids, because the club that Michael goes in The Smooth Criminal, it says Club 30s, I think it is, right? Okay, that's Depression-era. And you look at the kids. This is Depression-era kids, so we're going to have to assume that these kids are orphans. And so that's what I'm saying is, Michael, this image of what he did and what he was talking about, it was really important to him. Even when he makes his movie, what are the kids that he puts in the movie? Orphan children, living in the Depression era, living on the streets, you know, like the Tramp, the same kind of stuff, right? So now, I'm just going to show you something really quick here. This is a thing that's kind of different, but I want to show you, this is an actual movie from 1933. It's called Wild Boys of the Road, okay? And this is Depression era movie. This movie, I've seen this movie, but I haven't seen it for a while. It's a really good movie. It's a really cool movie. And from what I remember is that it was Depression era, and the kids started jumping the trains to go look for work. The kids were going out, leaving their families, going out to look for work and stuff like that. There was crazy stuff. But I just wanted to show you this because this is 1933. This is an actual movie made in 1933. I want you to see this part here because this kid does head spins on the concrete. And it's like one of those things that's like, you think about like in breakdancing, they were spinning on their head. They were doing stuff like that. But this kid, this is in 1933. The kid does head spins, and it's like one of those things that's just like, watch this, how cool is this? Isn't that crazy? Kid doing head spins. And see how the kid there's got no leg, he's got a crutch. It's because so the one kid there had no leg, and because he was trying to jump on the train, and then he fell off the train, and the train ran over his leg, and he lost his leg. And then so that taken from the film Beggars of Life, that must be the next part they're going to show you something. But I wanted you to see here, see the director there, William A. William. He directed that Wild Boys of the Road. That's in 1933. So this one they're saying Beggars of Life, that's a different movie and stuff. William L. William is a big director. So I wanted to show you, because he's connected to all kinds of stuff. Like, okay, so this William A. Wellman, he made the original, like, you know that movie they just did recently with Lady Gaga called A Star Is Born? Okay, well, A Star Is Born is a classic Hollywood film. There's been probably 5 versions of it, something like that, 4 or 5 versions. But the original one, the one that goes all the way back, the original one was made by William A. Wellman. He actually wrote it. Okay, so he directed it and wrote that movie. So the actual original A Star Is Born is from this William A. William. This is one of the things I want to tell you about film history and stuff. It's really cool when you get into film history and you learn like these directors. Like this William A. William, he made the original movie The Public Enemy that had James Cagney, because James Cagney is a gangster, and he was known as a fighter. William A. William created James Cagney because he put him in that movie, The Public Enemy, and then he made him the starring role because they actually had the 2 lead role characters, and they were playing the opposite roles. And the William A. William said, no, Cagney should be in this role. He switched him, and he turned Cagney into that tough guy gangster role, which he became really famous. The James Cagney is the gangster guy. But well, like William A. and he made the movie The Public Enemy. That was like William A. William. He did that. He did A Star Is Born. He did that Wild Boys of the Road movie. He's really big in film history stuff. There's a lot more to and stuff. I'm not going to get on with that. But I'm going to show you now. Okay, so now, okay, there's the Tramp. Okay, now this part is super important. Okay, so there's the Tramp. Now see, now that's got to be from a movie. That's got to be an actual photo. Like, that's what I said. There's got to be, there's might be much more actual information about that actual photo, the placement of what's taking place in this actual movie. But see, that is actually Charlie Chaplin. Okay, so that's Charlie Chaplin, and see the picture, like where he's located, the way he's sitting there and stuff, okay? And so, but that's the Tramp, okay? But now, there's Michael Jackson recreating that same pose. Okay, you see how it's the same thing. Michael's dressed as the Tramp. Okay, Michael's dressed as the Tramp, and he's recreating that specific photo of Charlie Chaplin. It's the same one. Okay, but now you see that this is a Michael Jackson drawing. One of his, actually, it's got his signature there. Okay, Michael Jackson drew this. But the words over here are from the song Childhood. This is not Smile. Michael Jackson has recreated this photo that's the same as the Charlie Chaplin Tramp photo, the image of what it was, but he's put himself in that position as a child. Okay? And then he wrote the words over here from the song Childhood. It says, "Before you judge me, try hard to love me. Look within your heart, then ask, have you seen my childhood?" Okay, so Michael Jackson, when he's got this picture here, this is the connection I'm saying, that it's about him being homeless. And the Childhood song is like what I'm saying, it's about him saying in the song Childhood is that he never had a childhood, that he was abandoned as a child. He never knew what childhood he should have had, because it should have existed with his real parents, but that never existed. And so this is what it's all about. But the big thing about what you need to understand here is that Michael Jackson connected the song Childhood and this image, he connected it to the Tramp. See? And the Tramp is a long-term homeless person who travels. Okay, that's the Tramp. So Michael Jackson, that's the same picture. See, but this is the song Childhood. Michael's documented the song Childhood. So when he's telling you, have you seen his childhood? He's connecting that direct image as a child as saying that even at that age, he's a tramp, he's homeless. That's what he's saying. And how could Michael Jackson be homeless if he's a Jackson and living with the Jacksons? That does not make sense. The only way that this actually makes sense is for Michael to connect the image of the Tramp, and you see the actual Tramp. You can see there's no doubt that is the same image. There's no doubt. That's the same image. The actual Tramp, Michael as the Tramp. Michael is a kid, but as a kid, he writes the song, lyrics to the words of the song Childhood on there. So that's what I'm saying is the Childhood song, it's not about Michael Jackson missing out on his childhood because he was making music. It's about him being homeless and forced to make music and stuff. And that's like how he's going on the road and stuff like that. But he did this here. He's connecting his childhood to, that's a direct connection right there. That he connected his childhood to the Tramp, who's homeless. And how could Michael Jackson be homeless if he's part of the Jackson family? How could he ever invoke that kind of feeling and this kind of imagery? There's no explanation for it until you understand the truth, that he's abandoned as a child. He's got this feeling of feeling like an orphan, and he's got this feeling of feeling like the Tramp because he's a long-term homeless person, because he had to go through his whole life, his whole career, actually without ever being like with his real parents. He was like homeless. That's what this is all about. He's clearly telling you right there the true story. He's confessing. But nobody ever could understand it because, like I said, the one single most thing that everybody knew about Michael Jackson was that he was a Jackson. But it's wrong. And Michael had to live his life this way and had to deal with all the fans and all the media and all the stuff where which it blows my mind that he actually got raised and became the Jacksons An American Dream. Like, think about what that would do to the personal psyche of a person. It would make a guy take a photo like this. Look at how like the pain. Look at how he feels, homeless and alone, feeling like the tramp, because that's what he was. It's not just for fun and games. This is who he was. Michael Jackson, I keep trying to tell people, he's an artist. This guy was smart. This guy was talented. But for some reason, he had this infatuation with like these orphan kids and like Charlie Chaplin, the Tramp character. There's all kinds of weird things. When the Peter Pan, there's all these weird things that nobody can understand because you think he's a Jackson. But the actual understanding of it, when you actually find, like it's weird how I discovered this, you know, and that I'm doing this story, because there's just no doubt it's true. And it's just like, look at like the song when he's telling people, look within your heart and ask, you know, how he has to beg people to, like, you know, have you seen my child? Can you cut me a break? Maybe think about things, you know, just remember to always think twice, you know. It's like, that's what he says in Billie Jean. So take my strong advice, just remember to always think twice. But nobody does it. Nobody ever did it because they just could never get past the part of him being a Jackson. But now it's like the Alice in Wonderland. We're through the looking glass. We're on the other side now. We're on the other side. We're seeing the other world. You're on one time you're just looking at the glass, but once you've stepped through the glass, you're in the other world now. We're Alice in Wonderland. That's what's going on here. It's frickin' Michael Jackson is completely confessing to the truth of who he is, what he actually felt like, what his life was actually like, and the characters that reminded him of his true life experience. And this is the world of what he showed, that this is who he was. But nobody could get it. You know, it says in the childhood song, he says they view it as strange eccentricities, you know? But that's not what it was. It wasn't that. It was the real life of who he was, but nobody could ever understand it. But it's like, we're here now. We're through the looking glass. We are seeing the truth. We are understanding this artist on a much higher level. And I don't know how come. Think about the reality of, like I said, Michael Jackson had to deal with the reality that none of his fans actually understood his work. I'm having to deal with the reality now that I'm trying to have conversation with Michael Jackson fans about Michael Jackson, and they all block me. It's like, whoa, that's some weird fucking shit. That's a weird reality that I'm having to live in, dealing with this stuff, saying, hey, I just want to talk to you about Michael Jackson. You're supposed to be a Michael Jackson fan, you know? I'm talking about Michael Jackson. And they block me. They refuse to, they will not have this conversation. And if I was so wrong, it would be so easy for these fans to shut me up and prove me wrong. But they can't. A few of them have tried, but I come back and my stuff, my explanation is much more powerful than theirs. And then that's it. They give up and then they just block me. They don't ever talk to me again. They don't ever say, hey, you made some good points, you know? Let me ask you some questions. Let me get some clarification on this. They don't ever do that. They just block me if they refuse to look. And it's like, that's the world, what puts Michael in this position. It's sad. That's the world, that's how Michael really felt in his real world. And, you know, the truth has to come out. And people are always saying they're doing for Michael. You can't do anything for Michael unless you tell the truth. That's it. The only thing that can explain who he is and actually free him from any of the burdens of what he had to carry along in his whole life is to tell the truth. And all I ask the Michael Jackson fans is to be a fan. Watch my stuff. If my stuff is junk, why are you so afraid of it? Why are you so afraid of it? If my stuff is so easily disproven, why are you people so afraid of the truth? It is just mind-boggling. What's happened to you people? I don't know. I don't know how to get this, because the people that see it, you know, I don't get the help where they don't help. I mean, I get some help, and they've done stuff. It's out there. There has been stuff. And that's one of those things, too. It's like, where me, it's like, the story's out there. I have had some help, and things have happened and stuff. But it just feels like to me, like I'm totally failing. Like I said, right now I'm at the point where I'm completely, like, blocked in the Michael Jackson community. I'm blocked. I've been shut out. because I'm doing this story, because I'm doing this research. I'm clearly doing research. I'm clearly doing a story about Michael Jackson. It's not made up. I'm showing facts. I'm documents, the evidence, and people refuse to look at anything of what I do, and just to the point they can't, because they know once they start looking at it, they're scared of the truth, because they know that once they've looked at my work and then they've seen, that's pretty good. And then they think I'm fooling them. They think I'm tricking them, and they think it's some kind of magic trick, and they're like, I'm not going to be fooled. I'm not going to be sucked into that. And it's like, look if it was wrong, I've done enough research. I've tested myself. I've looked to prove myself wrong because I didn't want to be fooled. But I couldn't do it. And every time I would do research and I would try and prove myself wrong, it would lead me to another door of evidence proving that I was right. That's how it happened. I kept looking for things, trying to find, okay, where could I find evidence to prove I'm wrong? And I would open up those doors. I would look at them every way I could. And what happens is every time I kept opening the doors and looking, I would just see the truth. And the truth ends up with this, like Michael Jackson alone in the corner, feeling homeless, feeling this kind of connection to homeless people and like orphan children in the Depression era. This is what's going on. There's just no doubt about it. It's just, and all I ask, like Michael says, just look within your heart and ask, have you seen my childhood? And all I do to the fans is I just say, just be a Michael Jackson fan and watch my work and think about it and ask me questions. If you want some more clarification and if there's something you're confused about, go ahead and ask me. I'm inviting people. Go ahead. I welcome it all. But I just get blocked and stuff. And so, it's like how Michael's like right there. That's what I'm going to do. It's like I'm going to go back, be alone, and nobody wants to deal with me and stuff. And that's why I say it's like I know the story's out and there's done a lot of good things have come from that. But in the reality, I'm going to turn this video off. I'm going to go be alone and feel like that nobody cares. And if I die tomorrow, then does my work die off with me? Like what happens? I don't know. It's just a weird place. And this is like how I feel. I feel like right there I'm alone in a corner in a bad place and stuff. And there's nobody here to help me. There's nobody that cares and stuff. And it's just like, I don't know. So, okay, I'll just keep making videos. I keep trying. I try my best. That's all I can, I'm at the point where I want to stop. All this stuff, I can't even tell you how many times, how long I've been like, I'm done with this, I'm stopping, I'm going to take long breaks and stuff. But then there's just like, there's too much stuff that I want to look at. I want to keep investigating because there's more. I want to watch those Charlie Chaplin films now. I want to see the actual part of what he's recreating here. I want to know that. I have this in my head, and it's not a kind of thing that I can stop because what actually the biggest part of the whole thing that keeps me really going is that I don't know if I'm alive and Diana Ross dies, okay? And I don't want to feel that. And that's what I keep trying to emphasize to the fans. It's like, look at Diana Ross is alive. Smokey Robinson's alive. Let them clarify it. We can do it now. They're alive. The fact that you people are giving up the opportunity to have Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson explain all of this stuff in person, it's like, come on. We've got them alive. We can have them explain it. And then if I'm wrong, they'll be able to prove to me that I'm wrong. But they have to be able to deal with me on my level. I have to be able to come and ask the real questions. You can't just have somebody say, hey, somebody's out there saying that Diana Ross, like say they're talking to Diana Ross. Hey, somebody out there saying you're Michael Jackson's mother. Then Diana Ross, she wouldn't say no. What she would just say is like, oh, people have wild imaginations. They're always creating all these stories. Okay, bye. But she didn't say no. That's how it would happen. You would have to directly ask her, no, this is serious. They've got you documented that you were in love with Smokey Robinson and you were sleeping in his house because you were friends with his cousin Sharon Burstyn. At the time, right after Smokey hooked up with Berry Gordy, you would have to like say it that way. And then they say, no, these people have explained the song Billie Jean. They've got you named as Billie Jean because you were playing Billie Holiday and Michael was living at your house in that time. And that's what the line is like, this... the smell of sweet perfume that she calls me to her room and but that line, right? She came and stood right by me. Then the smell of sweet perfume, she called me to her room. It's like the lines. It's like you'd have to hit her with like, no, this is explain it, and then explain what the Billie Jean is like. She says, I'm the one, but the kid is not my son. Where Diana Ross tells Michael he's the one, but tells him he's also got to stay at Jackson, and you got to like literally explain it to her like that. And if you don't explain it to her and call her out, and you don't put her to the test, then she can just say, oh, well, people are always got this imagination. They're always making wild stories. And okay, thank you, bye, I got to go, right? She could walk away without answering it. But if you hit her with the hard facts of what is taking place with the evidence I've got and stuff, then she won't be able to deny it because she'll know that she's caught. That's how it's got to be. And it's like, come on, let's get Diana's story. It's like, come on, that's why I say to the fans, it's like, you want to do something for Michael, the story needs to break now. It could be break so fast. All it has to do is the fans got to start talking about it. That's it. Boom. It would break. It would spread like wildfire. But not only do the fans not talk about this story, within themselves, they all put me down and reject me, and they say, don't talk about his story. He's wrong. He can't be right. Not only do they not help me, they literally fight against me. Like, just all of them. They all do it. That's what's taking place here. Not only are they not helping me, they're literally fighting against me. And they're claiming to be Michael Jackson fans. And have no concern for the understanding of what put this guy in that outfit at this time and has got him all living the life of what he lived, I just said, come on, just be Michael Jackson fans.